Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekend review for Module 3. It is Monday as I'm shooting this. Most of you have just turned in your Module 2 assignments on Sunday. Remember, I do grade assignments on Wednesday. That's usually my grading day. The grading, as I speak right now, should be caught up for everybody for Module 1. So go back and look at that. I did get some questions about Module 1 and the topic essays. What I do is I like to do video feedback for some assignments. Sometimes I can't do it for every assignment, but usually every week you're going to find one or two assignments that'll have either video or audio feedback with that. Go back in and look at that Module 1 assignment, that topic essay, and look at that video feedback. It appears as a small attached MP4 file. We have found that to play on every device so far, like in the universe, Macs, PCs, phones, everything. You shouldn't have any problem playing that attached video file where I actually have your paper in front of me on the screen and we kind of go through the paper, usually in about 2 to 3 minutes on that. Overall, I was very impressed with the quality of work on the topic essays. So very nice job with that. With the learning activities, I know the math can be daunting for some of you, and there was some high math anxiety with Module 2. Um, with here's the way I approach it. If you show that you've made an attempt at it, that you've had a logical sequence in there, you're going to get a majority of the grades for that assignment. If you don't have the correct answer, that's okay. Doesn't mean you're going to get a 0 for that particular question. You may still get 80% of it. You may still get 90% of it, as long as I see there was some attempt of, mastering the material. Now, hopefully, and let me talk a little bit about the learning activities. Let me finish talking about learning activity 1. So generally, it was very good. Most of you got that spot on. Great job. But for those of you with that high math phobia, just keep trying and follow along with the videos. And let me kind of speak with that too. With the learning activities, what I try to do may not always work every week. Some of it might be, where you're going to have to do a little bit more out of the book. But with every week, I try to make sure that the lectures that I make for you, which I make every week, match the assignment. So the learning activity, so that you can really look at the video and maybe kind of walk your way through it. And then I'm also introduced for Module 2, I did the homework help. So make sure that you're watching those videos and the homework help. I also received a few texts over the weekends, which is totally okay. I do want you guys to text me anytime. If I'm sleeping, I'm not going to get to it until the morning, but feel free to text me anytime. And then once I'm back into, regular mode, I'll reply back to it. But usually, you're maybe only looking at a few hour wait, if not only a few minute wait. But make sure that you are watching all of the weekend review videos, because I do address changes, ideas, the topics in these weekend review videos. Make sure that you're watching every one of the video lectures. For example, the calculator. There was a question about, well, where'd you get that calculator you were using? Well, we talked about it. I think it was in maybe the second lecture in that module, where I put the URL on the screen on there. So make sure you're watching this, because that makes your life easier, quite frankly. My job here is to make this stuff more digestible, to communicate this to you and have it to be more digestible and easier for you. Oh my gosh, I don't want you to have to do, if you went into those assignments thinking you had to do time value of money equations longhand, no. But if you watch the videos, you realize, hey, I didn't have to do those longhand. All I had to do was the calculators. And remember, I did put the update in there too, that all you had to do is put the calculator inputs in there. So, long story short, make sure you're watching every video that I put, both within the module and in the course news, because I try to update these things very, synchronous. We're going here, and it's not a canned course, so we're reacting as we go along here. And part of that is, making sure that you're checking what's in there, because it might make your life easier, is what I'm hoping. Okay, so we're very impressed with the quality of work in Module 1. Again, I haven't graded Module 2 in that. Now let's talk about Module 3. Module 3 is going to be kind of where some of you might get a little stressed. So I want to walk you through Module 3 a little bit. And let's remove my picture off of here and let's jump into module 3. So why it might be a little stressful this week. I think the topic is not going to be that bad. We're talking about debt financing, basically bonds, and generally what's used for corporate debt. So this should be a relatively softer subject than especially module 2. But we have our case study and our midterm exam in here. Let's talk about the case study first. So hopefully you're watching this video because you're going to learn something about the case study, which is written in there. But if you didn't catch it, you may be freaking out this Sunday unnecessarily. I'm giving you 2 weeks to work on the case study. So there you go. It says due at the end of module 4. So hopefully you're catching that either through this video or reading it down below. It's not due this week. I want you guys to kind of stew on this. Open it up, look at it, read this week's chapter especially because we are looking, it does kind of apply to bonds and what you're learning today. So kind of my recommendation would be look at the case study today, look at the questions, read it. It's a short read. It's only maybe 3-4 pages, maybe 4 pages. It's a relatively short case study, probably the shortest one in the entire book. Read the case study. Then, as you're digesting the material for this week, go, oh yeah, this is how it's going to fit. This is how I can apply it. Um, and then you have to, so there's that. And then by the end of when? Module 4, Sunday at midnight, in Module 4, you'll answer these questions. We got 4 questions here. You will receive points off if it's just, very short answers. I want you to think about it, apply the knowledge that you do know about, especially long-term debt financing, interest rates at this point. Apply that knowledge to the case in these 4 questions and make sure you're doing that in full paragraphs. You do that, you're going to do really well on the case study. I don't expect right or wrong answers for you to be financial gurus and to pick this thing apart. I just expect you to kind of apply some critical thinking skills to this case and express yourself, how you feel about it with these kind of these questions that we have in here. So we've got that with the case study. Okay, so remember, 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks to work on the case study. All right, now let's move on to the final. No, we're skipping ahead here. This week's learning activity, pretty standard. Only one math question this week. Yay, I'm sure you're excited about that. And the midterm. Okay, the midterm is going to be 30 questions. And on there, there will be some math, time value of money questions, basic kind of time value of money questions, things that you've already had exposure to, maybe some, regular annuities, maybe some perpetuities, maybe a lump sum in there, future value, present value. Remember the calculator, the arachnoid calculator that seemed to be working well for us? If you see one of those questions, which you probably will, use that calculator. Okay, that's going to help you here. And then there's just some general content questions in there as well. So you're looking at, there will be some math in there, not a ton, but some math. Maybe 30% of the questions might be math oriented. Remember, but you only have 30 questions, so it's pretty small. You're going to have regular multiple choice questions in there. There should not, I know a lot of you who had me last in accounting, the most correct answer, I think I've eliminated those. So it should be help be a little bit more clearer for you. And there'll be 3 short answer questions. Okay. So kind of like little micro essay questions. Make sure you're writing maybe a full paragraph for those. And that's about it. Maybe, 3 to 5 sentences will be necessary. So probably the sweet spot is going to be about 4 sentences for those short answer questions. And that's it. And you've got 3 hours to do it. So you got to know some of the stuff going into it. You won't be able to look up every answer with that, especially, when you have a little bit more, math calculations are going to take you a little bit of time, not too much. I mean, you could probably knock out each one of the math questions in 2 to 3 minutes. So it shouldn't be too bad as long as you've been practicing, with the calculator, which again, you've had that practice with the learning activities. And It shouldn't be too difficult, and it's multiple choice, so you're going to see the answer. If you come up with some totally goofy answer and it's not in the multiple choice area, you go back and see how you miscalculated. Now, if it's rounding, sometimes occurs within these financial calculators, a dollar or two here or there. Don't worry about that. There should be an answer that's the closest in proximity to what you're calculating. All right, so there's that. So the midterm is not too bad. It's only 30 questions, but again, I don't want you to be shocked when you open it up. There will be some math in multiple choice format. There is some true and false. I did forgot to mention that. There's some true and false, and then there's the short answer. There's 3 short answer questions. All right, so that covers that. Um, let's go back to the module here. So that pretty much covers what we've got going on this week. Now, as far as one update, unfortunately, I was not able to lecture today. There was some situations I had to address. I was unable to get to my lecturing today. I will be lecturing tomorrow on Tuesday, so please look for the lectures to be updated on Tuesday. And I will provide a small homework help, more oriented on the single math question that we have in the learning activity. And when do I do homework helps? Do you remember? Wednesdays, right? So I'm gonna try to do unless something happens. But usually I'll shoot out my homework help specials on Wednesday. So you may want to just do your reading, start working on some of your get that case study read, do that part, view your lectures, then wait for my homework help. I highly recommend that you, whenever I have one, wait for the homework help to come out before you attempt the homework. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do that. All right, that pretty much concludes the weekend review. I did check the virtual office. There were no questions to address this week in the virtual office. Remember, if you do have any questions that are big global questions, put them in the virtual office. I'll be happy to address that in this forum here. But you guys are doing great with the text messaging, and hopefully I'm getting back to you very quickly on that and getting your questions addressed within minutes. I think that's worked out pretty well for everybody, especially over the weekend. Um, all right, well, that concludes the weekend review for this week. And as always, thanks for watching.